Hey guys, there's a video clip from the O'Reilly Factor from back in 2014 when Bernie Sanders just entered the presidential race. Now, here's something about Bill O'Reilly. I respect the guy because he does his best every now and then to get out of the Fox News conservative bubble and to report the actual news. He does honestly try. I will give him that credit. But the majority of the time, he is in the Fox News conservative bubble, and I know there's a Bill O'Reilly inside his head that's saying, "Wake up, you fucking fool, and report the actual facts." And so I know Bill O'Reilly wants to report the real facts, but he'll be under the threat of losing his job if he does at Fox. Um, That being said, I have a lot of respect for Bill O'Reilly as a attempting journalist, but something about Bill O'Reilly though that confuses me a little is the fact whenever he has somebody on his show that he wants to have a discussion with, it normally turns into a debate. I never seen an O'Reilly interview where it was a plain out discussion. Never seen something like that. So we're gonna watch Bernie Sanders on the O'Reilly Factor.
Personal story segment tonight. Just about everybody believes Hillary Clinton will be the Democratic nominee for president in 2016, but there are some on her left that may give a challenge. One of those may be Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont, who joins us now from Washington. So, Senator, I'm not going to debate you tonight. I just want to get your positions on the record. I might give you a little jazz, but primarily I just want to know what you think. So let's start with number one. You are a socialist. What does that mean?
Before we continue to what Bernie Sanders says, when Bill O'Reilly normally says, "I might give you a little jazz," meaning I said I'm not going to get into debate with you, but if I start a jazz with you, it's going to turn into a debate. Like I said, he does this shit all the time with an up and coming presidential candidate on either the right and the left.
What it means is that we have a lot to learn from democratic socialist governments that have existed in countries like Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway, where all people have health care as a right, where higher education is free, where they have a strong child care program, where they don't have the massive type of income and wealth inequality that we have in the United States of America.
All right, so cradle to grave entitlements, then in order to raise the money to do that in a nation of 320 million, because Sweden has 9 million, all right, you have to tax. So I make a lot of money. Did you know that, Senator?
I kind of guess
yeah,
that.
I make a lot. So what is my income tax rate under your administration? What would it be?
It'll be more than it is right now.
No, give me a number. Give me a,
I'm not going to give you a number. It's something that you have to look at and study.
70, 80%?
Well, we used to have, as you know, under Dwight D. Eisenhower, I think the nominal tax rates were over 90%.
Yeah, but
the point is, look, Bill, you have massive income and wealth inequality. You got 1 out of 4 corporations in this country paying nothing in taxes. GE has not paid federal income taxes.
But you got to give me, as a voter, an idea of what kind of pain you're going to inflict on me. So,
well, you're not going to get it right now. That's a policy question.
All right, you're going to punt on that one. Okay.
No.
Okay, I want to stop it right there. Bill, look, like I said, I have a lot of respect for you as an attempting journalist, but you sound like an arrogant asshole here. Oh, how will your tax things affect me because I make a lot of money? Look, Bill, if you are a part of a station that supposedly we report you decide, if you work at a station that is truly like that, you would know that the majority of people who are on welfare are white people. And the majority of people who live in ransacked, poor areas are the African American community, and they haven't been given any help in the past 50 years since the civil rights movement to move to better communities and so forth. The government still has been fucking over its own citizens for a long time. And this is where Bernie Sanders is kind of going to talk about institutional racism while talking about American economics. And for people who still doubt that Bernie Sanders is for the African American community, you have to understand he's been fighting for civil rights long before you were even born.
I punted on it. You're going to pay more. How much more, I can't tell you.
But if you want to run for president, you have to tell me. Okay. Now,
but we've got a little time on that.
Putin. Okay. So Putin is going to seize Crimea. What do you do to Putin?
Well, I think, first of all, the lesson that we learn is that we don't repeat what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, where the United States virtually did it alone. We are a tight global community. The entire world has got to stand up to Putin. We've got to deal with sanctions. We have to deal with freezing assets. But the entire world has got to.
All right. So you're President Sanders, and you bring in Merkel, and you bring in everybody else in Europe. You go, this is what I want to do to Putin. What do you want to do, Senator? What do you want to do to him?
Well, you totally isolate them politically. You totally isolate them economically. They have
give me one example of an economic sanction you would like to see.
Well, you freeze assets that the Russian government has all over the world.
You freeze them. You say, hey, any Russian money in the U.S. banks, English banks, you can't get it.
You tell
that's pretty harsh. You know, Putin's not going to sit for that. You know that.
Well, international corporations have huge investments in Russia. You could threaten pulling them out. There are a number of things that you could do, but this is what you don't do.
All right.
You don't go to war. You don't sacrifice the lives of young people in this country as we did in Iraq and Afghanistan.
All right. So Putin invades Poland. You go to war for that? Say you did that?
Well, that's a hypothetical.
It is a hypothetical, but I want to know if you're a pacifist completely.
No, I'm not a pacifist.
Okay. So if Putin pushed it and started to really roll, you might have to take military action.
Well, the issue, again, is right now the United States alone spends almost as much money, Bill, on defense as the rest of the world.
Yeah, because
international.
We're the ones that protect freedom. The others don't really.
But we also don't have enough. Yeah, I know, that's fine, but we don't have enough money to take care of our veterans. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Kids can't afford to go to college. So what we have got to do is work with the entire global economy and all the countries around the world.
Okay, but President Obama has tried to do that, and he's not gotten very far. Now, your state is awash in heroin, Vermont. Tremendous epidemic of heroin. So hard drugs. You punish people who sell hard drugs? Yes? No?
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing worse than heroin dealers.
So you're not soft on hard drugs. You're not a drug legalizer.
What I do believe is that the war on drugs in its entirety has been a loser. We got a whole lot of people in jail who should not be in jail.
Who should be in jail? Somebody who sells heroin? Somebody who sells crack?
Somebody who sells heroin should be in jail big time. Somebody who's smoking a little marijuana should not.
But there's not too many of them in jail. Very, very few. And usually those are plea downs from major weight. Okay, so you're not soft on drugs. Last one. Under President Obama, median income in this country has fallen $7,000 on average, which is a disaster. And that's what the economy is all about. Workers aren't making enough money. How do you turn that around?
Good question. And that's ultimately the most important question, Bill, because the middle class of America is collapsing, has been collapsing for 30 years. It's silly to just blame this on Obama. The middle class is collapsing, poverty is up, and the rich are doing phenomenally well. What do? What you do is say that in America, we're going to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. And by doing that, we're going to create millions of jobs.
So you go on and raise the minimum wage like FDR, massive public works, put everybody to work, the government pays for people to just rebuild the
infrastructure is collapsing.
I'm not arguing with you, Senator. I'm trying to clarify. I'm not arguing with
you. You invest in your infrastructure, and that's the fastest way to create decent paying jobs.
Okay, so it's like the Tennessee Valley Authority, the Sanders Valley Authority. We're going to get a big, everybody's going to get a job. Workers rebuild the infrastructure.
No, it's not just working for the government. You can have private sector jobs as well. But the point is, when real unemployment today is close to 13%, youth unemployment is at 20%, it is absolutely imperative that our highest priority is to put people back to work.
All right. But they got to want to work, and they got to get them an incentive to work. Hey, Senator, we'll continue the conversation. What are the odds that you run for president? 10 to 1, 50 to 1? What is it?
We will wait patiently and see, Bill. It's still pretty early.
All right. We appreciate you coming on.
So, without actually bringing up the subject of institutional racism, Bill O'Reilly was schooled by Bernie Sanders on economic issues. Bernie Sanders has been, like I said, been fighting against institutional racism for 50 plus years. And he basically weaved through, without actually bringing up the subject of racism, that you have more of African American youth who are more damaged and more and who suffer more under the current economic ways that we have now, more than white youth. That's, in a nutshell, that's what he was saying. And if you don't think Bernie Sanders is still not for the African American community, watch the part where he talks about economics. And he, without bringing up the subject of racism, he basically describes that racism is alive and well without bringing up the subject. And he basically explains that African American youth are more, who suffer more under the economic policies we have now. And he does that all without bringing it up. And this is how brilliant the man is verbally with his stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed.